a movie, feel like a dream. If we could just cut to the end of that scene. Thought we were there, but you're hard to read tonight. And I just wanna run away from the town. We get drowned if we don't escape. Feel the walls falling down in this gravity, hitting me to the ground, and I can't get up without your touch. Hope that you're not holding back. I know it's hard to take the leap, so maybe I'll jump in and ask if you run away with me. Look like a movie, feel like a dream. If we could just cut to the end of the scene. Thought we were there, but you're hard to read tonight. And I just wanna run away from the town. We get drowned if we don't escape. Feel the walls falling down in this gravity, hitting me to the ground, and I can't get up without your touch. Just wanna run away from the town. We get drowned if we don't escape. Feel the walls falling down in this gravity, hitting me to the ground, and I can't get up without your touch. Just wanna run away from the town. We get drowned if we don't escape. Feel the walls falling down in this gravity, hitting me to the ground, and I can't get up without your touch. Run away from the town. We get drowned if we don't escape. Feel the walls falling down in this gravity, hitting me to the ground, and I can't get up without your touch.
Are we ready? Yes. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today, and thank you to IKEA, to this brilliant company who made it possible for all of us to come here and meet in person today. But not only, also thank you to everyone who is joining right now online. We are so grateful for that. Before we start, I want to share an interesting story. First, who am I? I didn't mention. I am Griselta Latifi. I am the founder of Coding on Heels community, also working as an e-commerce consultant. And how I found this, I just will say a super quick short story. In 2018, I traveled in Austria in a business trip. It was an event for a technology that I was coding at the time. And who knows, all of those ladies that have been in these events knows that they're 99% men and only 1% women. So at this event also it was the same. And it was more than 150 people, and we were only 2 women in technology. And what happened is that during the break, this one of the participants, he came to me and he told me, "Hey, are you from marketing?" I said, "No, actually I'm a software developer." And he's like, "Oh, you code and you wear heels?" Actually, who knows that this is my style, like just a blazer and heels, that's it. And I was like, "Yes, but actually these comments followed me during my 11 years as a software developer, because people would actually usually don't think that I was a developer. And sometimes that I was thinking, maybe I am too much feminine for being in tech." So that often would also hit my, my confidence in technology, in my knowledge. But however, what this guy said, code on heels, it stuck into my mind. So that day, on my flight back in Amsterdam, I was sitting coding on heels. Wait, coding on heels. This name resonates with me, a woman in technology wearing heels. So this is how I thought about the name, Coding on Heels. And when I landed, I directly purchased a domain, but I didn't know what to do with it. I had no idea. But till then, last year, I decided to create a group in Meetup called Coding on Heels. And then I just said, women together coming to share knowledge. But I didn't have the courage to organize an event. I had no idea what I'm going to offer to these women. So on October, I took the courage, and I decided to organize this event. And with no expectations, I had no idea what I'm going to say. I just wanted to connect with these women in technology and hear their stories and get to know them. And thanks to those ladies who joined the day, and some of them are here today, which I'm so emotional right now. Because of them, since that moment, now almost a year, I have hosted 15 webinars, together with this today, 16 and 3 in offline. But why is that? What am I doing with it? It's just, well, I don't want to use the word empowerment in this case, because for me, empowerment means, yes, we all know, means giving someone power, and you don't need me or someone else to give you power. You already have the power within you. You just need to know that you can, so then you can do it. And that's what we are here to do. Today, we also want to inspire with these role models, with these women in technology, who are going to share their stories and talk for different topics so that you can resonate. And I assure you, in the end of this event, you'll feel pumped up, you'll be so inspired that you go back and you continue to achieve anything you want, because you can. So today, now I'm going to share with you the agenda that we have. So as you may already have seen, we have 4 speakers. We are going to have 4 presentations. First will be Liliana Top. She is a brilliant woman. Now she's a software engineer, and she's going to talk about a very personal story, how I found my Wonder Bra. Then we will continue with Vanessa. She is also a software engineer, but at IKEA. And she will talk about how I paved the path as a woman in technology. And then we're going to have a quick break. For those who are following us online, it will be only 15 minutes. Just quickly take a cup of coffee or cup of tea, wherever time zone you are. And then we will come back. We will continue with Marjana Shammi, lead and be led. And then we will, the last but not least, Prasha Dutra, she will talk how to be confident. And we will all want to know how to be confident. And all the speeches are 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to have 5 minutes Q&A for everyone who is here today. They can just make their question, and the colleagues will drop you the mic, so you feel free to ask any questions. So yeah, and now I want to introduce Marjana Shammi. She is a brilliant woman in technology. She's the product engineer manager at IKEA, and she's going to give a quick intro about IKEA.
Wow, thank you so much, Griselta, for first of all partnering up in this, right? And what a fantastic story you've shared about yourself. And I think we can resonate with her story in different perspectives for sure. So thank you so much for partnering up, and lovely to have all of you here and join us in our talk. I feel so connected to this topic, and not because it's more gender related or women in tech, but purely because if we are able to collectively, just harness the true potential in people, imagine the combined effect that we will have on society. And that's why I'm so passionate to bring in, all these potential skills that we can have together. And what better way to empower each other, right? To really bring out the best in you. So I'm very passionate about this topic, and as IKEA. So I'm Marjana Shammi, also similar like you, introducing myself. I'm product engineering manager here in IKEA, and of course I'll do a talk later on where you get to know me a little bit more. But what I'm really happy to be here in IKEA about is we are a company that really focuses on values, that really focuses and has that commitment of being 50-50, and really being aware and conscious about the gender biasness in what we do, but also really striving to be more equal. We are currently 32% females in our roles, and also 35% in female leadership roles, and we're continuously growing. And what I want to also share here with you today is also on the IKEA tech side, and it's wonderful to see having a women in tech event. And that's because not many people would think IKEA as a tech hub. So this is also, in a way, a story to share with you all, that there are so many brilliant things happening here in IKEA. We have 6 digital hubs worldwide. And now you're here in one of the digital hubs in Amsterdam. And we are part of Group Digital, about 2,800 people. And we're continuously growing. I mean, this office, it started, I think, in November or December last year, and now we're, nearing down 200 people already, which is fantastic. And we're across, different job families with data analytics, with engineering, product, and UX experience. And I'm just very, very happy to be doing this and hearing the wonderful stories of our speakers, but also engaging with you all and then hearing about your stories. So thank you so much. And if you would like to introduce our first speaker.
Can I have the mic? Yes, okay, cool. Then I would like to introduce our first presentation for today, Liliana Top. She's going to share a very beautiful, inspiring story. It's called How I Found My Wonder Bra.
Gentlemen as well. I want to tell you my story of how I found my perfect wonder bra. I've been asked why I became a developer. How did it happen? Well, I think I ended up here by not thinking it through. The only plan I ever made, or more like a pact, is to never get married and never to have children. Let me explain you how it came about. I grew up in a village where nothing was happening. My mom was an unconscious married woman with 9 children, and a husband who fell in love with another woman with whom he started a second family. I saw my mother struggle, and I can't remember seeing her happy in my younger years. She was very religious and traditional, and she had different rules for my brothers than for her daughters. My brothers had so much more freedom. As a girl, I would be admired for my appearance, for being sweet and adorable, and the smartest of the bunch. I did feel loved and admired, but why did I not get the same privileges as my brothers? I mean, it was obvious I was special, so why not? And it became worse when I got breasts. Now, I was no longer allowed to go out by myself, and felt the few privileges I had were taken away from me. Decent girls do not hang out in the streets by themselves. There were special names for those girls. And it was expected of me to finish school, get married, and one day have children of my own. Fortunately, I had an aunt living in Amsterdam, and I would visit her all the time. I think she was considered a bit eccentric, as she was unmarried, she had no children, and she lived in a house with other women who might or might not have had a relationship with each other. She exposed me to culture, theater, and the Amsterdam School of Philosophy. She represented freedom to me. So I decided I would not become like my mom, but more like my aunt. And that was the pact I made with myself. And the rest was up to life. So after I finished school, Amsterdam wasn't far enough for me from where I grew up. So I left for Paris. I was only 18 and it felt the world was my oyster. I have very fond memories of my time in Paris. But those stories are for another time. I soon realized that without a good education, it wasn't easy to find interesting jobs. So I decided I wanted to study psychology out of interest, but also economics to get a proper job. And in my final year of psychology, I organized to do the research for my thesis in Dutch Guyana. However, this got cancelled shortly before my departure. I was so disappointed, and out of sheer frustration, I decided to travel east instead. So just the opposite direction, no other reason. My sister would come along, and while we traveled through Asia, we passed by Singapore. I loved it instantly. It was so different from how I grew up and what I knew. The bustle of the city, all that wonderful food at the night stalls, so multicultural. But above all, I felt safe being there by myself. I could live here, I just knew. So I tell my sister how I feel and how I would like to live here for a while. Now, she remembers that one of her neighbors knew someone that started a company there. So she calls her neighbor, who gave us the name and contact details of this Dutch fellow. I called him and convinced him to hire me to do my research for my thesis. And that's how my second adventure abroad started. So after I finished my research, I wanted to stay. So during one of my last weekends in Singapore, I met a man at a party. He told me that he used to be a client service director at Saatchi & Saatchi, which I never heard of, but was actually one of the biggest international advertising agencies. And he told me that he recently started his own agency, and he was looking for people. And he said, I think you would be great in advertising. And my reply was, when can I start? And so it happened that I started as a rookie in an advertising agency with only Chinese Singaporeans, and I was the adopted child. I stayed for more than 4 years, after which I got a job in Australia, but first wanted to return to Amsterdam to catch up with friends and family. Then it happened that I ran into my cousin, with who I grew up with. We are born only 3 weeks and 10 kilometers apart. She told me she recently broke up with a boyfriend and asked me to stay with her. And I thought, well, Australia wasn't going anywhere. So I decided to stay for a year or so. And I started as a freelancer, making really good money. And it was obvious that I wasn't spending my money wisely. So my sister sent me to her financial advisor. I remember how that conversation went. So he said, you make about 15,000 euros per month, and you spend it all, and you can't tell me on what. And I said, If there's money in the bank, I'll spend it, and if there's none left, I'll stop spending. So his advice was to buy an apartment as an investment. And I did. But not realizing that now I had to work for the mortgage. So no more Australia, I was stuck. So I kept working, and I grew into a marketing consultant, basically managing people. And from the outside, my life looked fantastic. But after some time, I realized that I did enjoy my colleagues, but my work was meaningless to me. I had this urge to create, to build something that was real. And this urge led me to leave everything behind, and I moved to Cape Town to study art. I graduated as an installation artist at the end of 2011. But due to the violence in Cape Town, I decided to return to Amsterdam. Again, without a plan. And back in Amsterdam, I got myself a beautiful studio, very close to my new home. I organized projects, and I was able to create attention for certain issues through my art. I felt so fulfilled. I was really, truly content. However, the money was very tight and it was a source of stress. I was running out of money and there wasn't enough coming in. So in the end, I had to close the doors of my studio in June 2019. I was heartbroken. Friends suggested to do something with digital art, designing websites as an extension of my art practice. There would be money in that. So I decided to start a training to become a web designer. I had lessons in HTML, CSS, and a bit of JavaScript. And I thought to myself, this is interesting. So when I got the opportunity to switch to a full-stack traineeship, I needed no encouragement. But it was completely self-taught, learning through Code Academy, while sitting in a sweatshop with 5 other students. The smell, I kid you not, it was like a non-ed cloakroom. And the ambience was so poisonous due to the competition between some students. So I was delighted when I got the chance to start with the program Make IT Work, with a company as a sponsor. This program is designed for graduates to become a software engineer within 5 months of intensive training and Java as the basic programming language. Basically a bootcamp. So I started in April 2020 and the first 6 weeks were so exciting. Although the classes were online due to the first Corona lockdown, we did have professional teachers. And a female co-student would come to my home and we would attend the lessons together. I had so much support from her. Whenever I doubted myself, struggled with the subject matter, felt belittled, or got upset as competition was encouraged between students, she would lift me up. So I was devastated that she wasn't allowed to continue due to her grades. I was on my own now. And it got worse when we were split up in groups, and I ended up in a group of highly competitive young males with whom I had to build an application. And on top of that, due to the Corona crisis, I lost my sponsor. And now I was trying very hard to find myself another one. Long story short, I approached over 50 companies. Most of them wouldn't even reply. The feedback I got from recruiters was basically that the combination of being female, over 50, unconventional resume, without a degree in computer science-related field, and the ongoing Corona crisis was just too many a hurdle. So I continued my education by doing private projects and online courses while looking for a job. It amazed me how I could spend days on end experimenting and playing with code. I was totally addicted. It gave me so much pleasure and satisfaction. And I wondered, if I wasn't on welfare and my need to be part of a team, my life would be pretty good. So then one day I found Coding on Heels, and I joined them in October 2020. But I was afraid it was a group of hardcore, super senior developers who would have no interest in me. So I didn't dare to attend the monthly meetings, till one day I felt very courageous, and I contacted Chrissy. I told her how I felt and asked, even though I'm not a developer yet, would I be welcome? And she responded so positive and so welcoming that straight away I signed up for the next monthly online event. And in that same month, I got this phone call from a recruiter who told me that he's looking at a picture of me standing next to a huge dildo. And he was curious about the story behind it. He found me on a list of unemployed developers. He Googled my name and came across this picture. Well, I said in response, it isn't a dildo, it's a vibrator. And it was part of an installation about the oppression of women. It was a tongue-in-cheek work of how medication only gets tested on healthy men to get an FDA approval. So to shed light on this matter, I used the image of the vibrator, as the vibrator was originally a medical tool for women who suffered from hysteria. Well, I got the job. Now I'm working as a junior Java developer for a company whose mission is up my alley. The Java developer who hired me seemed very knowledgeable, and I thought he would be a great mentor. Even though I was the only female developer in the entire group of companies, I believed that we would be a great team and we'd fly. So in the next month, Lee meets up with Coding on Heels. I proudly tell them the story, and it feels I really belong. Then congratulations, the encouragement, all the positive responses, they lifted me up. And I lived happily ever after. Well, not quite. In the second week, I wanted to resign. My boss was sick. There was no proper plan to settle me in. It was badly organized. My colleague, who I expected to be my mentor, was not a senior himself. And I found out that he wanted to hire a senior developer so he could grow. And they couldn't find any. I hardly dared to ask questions, as though I had to figure it out by myself. And once I had the courage to ask, I would get a response which was either not an answer to my question, or maybe I was just not smart enough to understand. The application was a giant pot of spaghetti, and it didn't make any sense to me. I doubted myself. I feared I would never belong. Furthermore, they would never ask me how I was or how my weekend had been. I got feedback from colleagues that just weren't interested in my personal life. I felt so lonely. So during the next monthly meetup with Coding on Heels, I listened to similar stories, and I told mine. Straight away, there were women who offered their help. Now I've got 2 mentors who I speak to on a regular basis, and they help me with my work and encourage me. And recently, I was having brunch with Greasy when she told me that I'm such an inspiration to her and asked me if I would share my story at this event she's organizing together with IKEA. I'm quite surprised that she thought I could be an inspiration for other women in IT, but I would do anything for her, so I agreed. So I planned a weekend in which I would write the first draft for her approval. However, it's the same weekend that everything goes wrong. Friends forget me while setting up for a group exhibition I should be part of. A technical test takes me more than the prescribed hours. I promised a friend to build a homepage with animation, which I can't get to work. And now it's Sunday evening, and I want to start on my draft for the speech, and I'm in tears. What could I possibly offer these women? I'm miserable. How could I inspire a woman to work in IT knowing they're going to be miserable too? So I sent a message to Chrissy asking if she has time for a chat. So we meet on Tuesday evening for a bite to eat. And I tell her what happened the weekend and how I feel. She tells me that these are the kinds of stories I should share, as other women will recognize themselves, that will inspire and encourage them knowing that they're not alone. So within no time, I feel good again, laughing. And I hear myself say to Chrissy, you know, my colleagues, recruiters, actually mostly men, make me feel small and stupid. But when I talk to you, you make me feel so good. Actually, you lift me up like a bra. You are like my favorite wonder bra. So for all you women out there who also feel this constant gravitational pull, please join the Coding on Heels community. Let's support and lift each other up like your favorite wonder bra does. So thank you for listening to my story. And thank you, Gracie, for being my favorite wonder bra. And thank you all the wonderful people of IKEA who made this event happen. And by the way, IKEA is looking for developers. So if you're interested, please take the opportunity to have a chat with them this evening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So I can go?
Yes, great. Thank you so much, Liliana, for this. My mic is on. Liliana?
Oh, you want me to back?
No,
Oh,
I want you back.
you want me
Yes,
back?
I'm on? Cool. Thank you so much, Liliana, for sharing this story from your heart. Absolutely, I think you are such an inspiration, because this is what we want to know, that we are not alone, that we are not stupid. We just need to know how to do it, so then we can succeed. So if anyone has any question for Liliana, shout out. Yes.
Oh, wait. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just curious, is there anything from your time in advertising at Saatchi & Saatchi that is sort of relevant to your new career as a software developer?
It does help me. Yeah, it does. It's the way I approach things. Because also in advertising, you have a certain way of doing things, of taking, you put it down step by step, and actually I use the same approach when programming. Yeah. But I didn't work for Saatchi & Saatchi. He was from Eric Tang was from Saatchi & Saatchi, and he started his own agency, and he was looking for people.
I see.
Thank you for your question.
More here.
Hi, no, I just wanted to say that, it's really inspiring just hearing you today because when you are in that position where you are in a, comfortable.
Maybe you can stand up so I can
yeah,
see you.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yes.
No,
Thanks.
Yeah, no. So I was just saying that it was really inspiring to
Thank
hear you today, because when you're in that position, when you feel secure and you feel like, should I do this next move? Is this for me? Just hearing these stories actually feel you empowered and actually feel you like, okay, everything is gonna be fine. So I was just, just wanna thank you for sharing that, it makes you feel that you're not alone, and that you can always make changes at the end
For
of the
sure.
day, and you can always, change rhythms. So I think, thank you for that. Yeah.
Well,
that was it.
thank you. Thank you.
You see, I was right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yes, you are very right. But you're always right, aren't you?
No, I'm not always right. Thank you so much for your question.
Yeah, hello, very nice, very impressive, impressive lecture to me, because I'm also approaching to 50. I just moved back from Asia to here. I lived here before, but due to some reason I lived in Asia for 10 years and come back. So I also want to restart my life here. And I'm wondering, because for our age, we're thinking much more than younger people. So you do work as a Java developer. This is a technology part, but do you think this Java developer, that the work you do link to a certain product? Do you have that a certain, a certain philosophy for me? I want to connect to the sustainability. And,
Okay, so you would like to work for a company whose mission is like something to do with sustainability?
Yes. Yeah, so I don't know, do you
Well, the
just
company
want
I'm
to get a
working for
job?
now
Yeah.
is, I love their mission because they're trying to give back the power to municipalities. So we're building applications for them, which I really enjoy. Yes.
Okay.
But it's not to do that because it's Java. It could be any other language. Wasn't that your question?
Yeah, no, I just want to say you now, because you get in as a junior level.
Very
and then
junior, yeah.
So that's why I was thinking, because I don't know, I'm at the moment, I didn't work for any company, but I feel like I have very selective. So I want to work for the company, have some more positive towards this the climate action, to this direction. I want to be more to their side. So,
I think that's wonderful because there'll be plenty of jobs for people like you who can work for companies who work for sustainability, for sure.
I think you give me a lot of encouragement. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
nice to hear.
I just
You
wanted to
should
add,
join
actually-
us, eh? Join the community.
I do, yeah.
IKEA actually is doing great investment on
I
sustainability.
love
So
the concept of IKEA.
Yes.
I visited the last few months.
wonderful.
By many, affordable and sustainable. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. If no one has more questions, another applause for Liliana. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, now I would like to invite Vanessa Hall, another brilliant woman in technology. She is a software engineer at IKEA Digital Hub, and she's going to talk unconventional path towards a career in tech. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Chrissy. And thanks for having me. Tough act to follow. Great talk, Liliana. I'm Vanessa. I'm a software engineer at IKEA. And what I wanted to talk to you all tonight was about kind of my non-traditional path to how I became a developer. The reason why I started a community for women who want to learn how to code. I think our ambitions are similar to Chrissy's here. And the takeaways from that community, how I apply that to my day-to-day life at work, and how I can encourage you all to do the same to improve your day-to-day life as well. So, a bit about myself. This is the kind of the points I wanted to cover, so we can go to the next slide. A bit about myself. I'm from Canada, so apologies in advance if I say sorry too much. I moved to Netherlands about 6 years ago, and I wasn't always working in tech. So when I first graduated from my bachelor's degree in science, I was a project manager in energy, utilities, and water. And that's actually what brought me to the Netherlands. As you probably all know, they're world leaders in water management, as they rightly should be, since most of the country is below sea level. And so when I arrived, I landed a role in a water technology startup. And what really was fun for me in that position was like making scripts to handle huge amounts of data, to make sense of it, and to also visualize it. And it got me thinking, like, this is really fun. Maybe it's a career choice that I could really pursue. And I kind of just sat with that for a while, and it made me really kind of nervous, the idea of changing careers. And I did a lot of self-study in the evening, joining some online coding courses before I finally decided to take the plunge. And before I tell you a bit more about that, I just wanted to get a pulse about who's here in the audience. So can you raise your hand if you are considering changing roles, if you are starting out in the tech industry and maybe you've never worked in that role before? So about a handful, like 5 people. And can you also raise your hand if you do have if you are working in the tech industry in some capacity as a developer, designer, product owner? Okay, so that's, let's say, like 3/4 of the room. And of those people working in tech, how many would you consider yourselves to be more kind of junior or entry level? Okay, so maybe 1/4. And then a bit more meteor. I would consider myself, okay, a handful. And then maybe senior or above. Okay, so it's kind of like this trajectory, like this funnel. Cool. Thanks for that. Thanks. I'll keep that in mind for later. So yeah, a bit more about myself. So after I decided to become a developer and embarking on this journey, I was fortunate enough to land a really interesting internship with my partner, who's actually in the audience. So she's been we've been supporting each other on our coding journeys. This is really nice. And then from that internship, we both landed a permanent position as developers at an agency here in Amsterdam. And it was a really kind of long and convoluted process. And when I was reflecting on that, I was thinking about how lonely that journey was for me, how I was really searching for a kind of community where I could ask questions about code, about this career trajectory, if I was on the right path. And this was Amsterdam 5 years ago, so the kind of tech and meetup and communities ecosystem was not as vibrant as it is today. So I was really lost in that sense. I never really found that community. So I decided, maybe there's more women like me, and maybe I could help provide that avenue for them. And so that's how I decided to make a meetup called Let's Code Together. And it's what I envisioned it to be was a place where women could sit together and write code. So they could talk about their projects, their problems, they could help each other come up with solutions, and mainly just to provide that safe environment at a regular cadence, so like every month. So this is a kind of a gazelic image of the very first meetup that we held. It was just a handful of people, but I was just so thrilled that anyone showed up at all. It was really nice. And then what it grew to a few years later was quite a strong community of 700 members. And on top of those kind of monthly sessions where we just sit and write code together, it's grown to a lot more, having conferences, workshops, social events. And one of the most really cool things that have emerged is watching the people who arrived, the women who weren't sure if they were on the right path, becoming more confident in themselves and supporting each other more and more. And I really think that the fundamental reason why this community was able to grow as it did is because we had that really important ingredient, which was having a safe environment where people could feel like they could try anything. They could voice their opinions, they could ask questions, and no one would be there to make them feel stupid or that they didn't know enough. And when you have that solid foundation, I think that's what makes people want to try new things and collaborate and do really scary things like offer to host or organize their own meetup or deliver a workshop or a deep dive on a technical topic. And like that's, for me, like that's like the most rewarding thing to see. And so I think one of the most interesting takeaways for this is, sorry if this is a bit small, but what I wanted to bring back from the kind of keys for success for building a community is also something that you can take away to integrate into your own teams. So I'm not sure if anyone's heard of this Google study from a few years ago about the 5 keys for having a successful team. So what they did is they surveyed their 200 top performing teams in the whole organization. And they wanted to identify like the traits and characteristics that would make a team really successful. And what they found was really interesting. It's not the people, the individuals on the team that make it so successful. It's these elements. First and foremost, having psychological safety, that element of, can I ask questions? Can I state my fears without feeling embarrassed or that you don't know enough? The second is dependability. Can we work together to get things done on time and to do work of high quality? The third is structure and clarity. Do the teams understand their roles and goals and have a plan to execute what they want to do? 4 is meaning. Is the work personally meaningful for the people on that team? And last of all, 5 is impact. Do team members think that their work matters and that they're able to create change? And so those ingredients that I wanted to have for my community, like having that meaning, having that sense of purpose, I've also seen in my own experience working as a developer, like that really is what makes a team work together. And one really interesting aspect of having that foundation of psychological safety is not just becoming a high-performing team, but next slide. The teams that have that element of psychological safety, those people on those teams are the least likely to want to leave a company. They're the ones that want to stay. And that's what I want to bring to your attention today is 41% of women in tech, they quit their jobs within the first 5 years. And to me, that's a really alarming statistic, but I have seen that happen. So in my time working as a developer, I think companies, especially like IKEA here in Amsterdam, have made really great strides in understanding that they need a more diverse workforce. They're doing everything they can to attract more women, more underrepresented people. But I think this is also a really important factor is like a lot of these women will leave. And so what I want to ask you in the audience today is to think about what can we do to help these women want to stay. And so some examples are of those women who stayed, 75% had role models to help and guide them. 45% had peer groups of other women, and 93% had a sense of purpose. So, you know, for those of you who are starting out into the group or becoming more media or senior developers like myself, I feel like I not only have the privilege, but also the responsibility to pave the way for the women coming in after me. And I encourage you to have this mindset as well. Like, what can we do to make sure that we are there to mentor those who don't have one, to provide peer groups, like a forum for underrepresented people to voice their concerns, to share what they're working on, and to make them feel valued. And ultimately, what can we do to not just help them enter the workforce, but make them want to stay and help them to thrive and succeed in their careers in the coming years? So it's just something to think about. Thanks.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any question for Vanessa? Yes.
Hey, thanks for sharing. I think super good. Can you keep that slide on, please? Because I have a reflection on that slide, why is community important?
Yes.
I really like what you have on that slide. I do believe that there is one really important thing missing, and that is the role of men in this. Because yes, you need female role models and so on, and we need events like this, but I take, a personal responsibility as well to make sure that we have a 50-50 gender diversity in IKEA. And I think it is really important that we have that on slides like this as well. I just wanted to share that.
Yes, that's a great comment. Yes, sorry, Vanessa.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, thanks a lot for saying that. I think for some reason, I feel much more comfortable asking women to take up these tasks than men. So thanks a lot for saying that, and I should take it on myself not to be so hesitant to make that ask to everyone. So thanks.
Thank you for your question. Does anyone have more statement or a question? Shoot. Yes.
Do I say too much?
No, feel free. The stage is yours.
I'm in status, so I have a lot of things to say. I feel that your community is really important. I just use the example what I did the last few months. I moved back from Asia, and then I need to my house rented out for the last 10 years. So you can imagine how many the tiny damages at home, everything, everywhere. But I cannot afford because I come back alone by myself. So I cannot ask so much money from my husband to do that because I want to be here. So, and then if I ask the technician to help, the unit is 1,000 euro as a unit, and how many 1,000 euro needed for all the damages. So, and then, but I cannot do all my alone because I never breaking down all the electric foods, and I never breaking down of the bathroom, kitchen. But my husband had a few weeks holiday here. I pushed him, and I said, you just guided me, and I needed the strength from him. He can help me move out the bus. So I move, he helped me and move out, and then I try to break down everything. And then I repaired the tiny damage, and I put it back, and now everything look like new. So what I want to say that we need a bit of help. I need help from my husband that give a little bit help, and I have the what to say it? I have the drive. I want to solve it, and I think this thing what I bought before was good quality. There should not be big damage inside, but I want to find out where is the damage. So that's the way I said that cost a little money and more sustainable, and I solve it, and now I dare to do more. So I break down all my white goods, like a washing machine, dryer, everything, and the whole ventilation system. I break it down all, and then find out the problem a little. Many people just damage changed, not.
Yes.
So that's the thing I think we also women. Why now? I want to go back to the engineer part. I'm data background, but because we don't have the environment or to give us a bit of support. Because if my husband didn't give me the support, I'm not able to do anything. I was in China 2 years ago, and I want to do the same thing because in China, and the environmental things are very bad stuff. So I want to understand the whole process. And I hire people. I put a lot of money. I just want to they follow my instruction. They don't. So now with my husband's help, I manage to do all my own hand. I'm a carpenter. I'm
so
for all levels.
Maybe what you're trying to say is that you want to be able
support.
to take risks, but you can't do it all on your own. So to be able to ask for help.
We need some community to help, give a little lift up, and then we solve big problem.
Yes,
That's what
definitely.
I want to conclude. Yeah.
That's a really nice analogy. Thank
Yes,
you.
this is why we have communities, right? To support
So
you
we
with
really
the soft
need it.
skills, like that you really need
Yeah.
this inspiration, that you can do it, that it's just
Yeah.
limited beliefs, or, for example, different topics like how to negotiate a salary as a woman technology, how to be confident as a woman
Yeah.
technology, I don't know, how to find a job, because a lot of women has a lot of skills, soft skills also, which are very important as a software developer, but they don't know how to express that. And indeed, this is why also are the tech communities where they can really go also into dive into the technology and can really learn about it. So indeed, I have many ladies also, maybe also you experience that they join the community and they say, okay, Griselta, I finished this book, what should I do next? And I'm trying to apply as a junior, but nobody's accepting me. What should I do? So it's a really high demand right now in the market that the women are changing technologies. I don't know, maybe also men, but because I'm focusing this, I'm talking for women, and that they need guidance. It's a very huge demand.
We need some support.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing. Anyone has any more statement? Yes, two. We have two. Three.
Hi. Actually, I was also joining the Let's Code Together 2 years ago, and it was really nice. We had a few workshops, and it was like mentorship with lots of other senior developer guiding us. And because of Corona, it was stopped for like 2 years. I was just wondering if maybe in the future we're gonna have similar workshop again.
Yes. And thank you for putting the pressure on.
That's good. That's good.
For sure. Yeah, I'd really love to. I really love to have these in-person events again. I've been missing that connection. So yes.
Great. Thanks for sharing. We had another one. Yes.
Hi, thank you for your good story and for sharing. I was triggered by what you say about safety. IKEA, you work here, of course, is a value-driven company. How do you feel that the values contribute to that feeling of safety and that we're able to learn?
Yeah, I do feel quite lucky that I landed in an organization that their values are so present, and, not just inclusive, transparent, and also things about sustainability and cost conscious. But yeah, I feel lucky that those values are really present, and they do use those values based on the people they hire. So I think all the people around me, they are just nice, great people to work with in general. And so based on that, I have an easy landing space to assess what is the psychological safety of my team, how can we be open and more transparent with each other. We already start at quite a high level, we don't, people communicate in quite a nice way, and we all know we have the same goals. But I can say that in other companies that I work with that don't have these same values, the psychological safety that's not there, it's it can be a really stressful place to work. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but if you are starting from a place like that, I think take a step back and try to understand what is the problem from the point of view from each of your team members. What makes you want to succeed as a team member? What is the shared common goal that you have? How can you work together to achieve that? And then just having that dialogue and be a bit open and vulnerable. I feel like I'm scared to voice my opinion because sometimes I get a lot of backlash. I feel like when I see this person making this mean comment on my pull request, you have maybe you do have to take that scary first step and say I am very concerned about this, but I would like to improve. So I haven't. Yeah, so I have to say the experience at IKEA is really, really nice. But if you don't have that kind of environment around you, try to do what you can to improve that situation, and the environment of your team will improve as well.
Hello. So I'm a community manager, and I agree with the comments that I heard in the room, especially the need of having allies. So fair enough, fair point. We mentioned a couple of communities tonight, and I was wondering, since I am a big believer of the power of community, if there's any other community you would like to share with the audience, especially now that we're back with in-person events and just finding mentors, and your own tribe is more important than ever.
Yes.
I think, That would be it's a question for both of you.
Yes, what I know already, there are some really nice one if you actually especially want to go more dived in into a specific technology. For example, if you want only on Angular or Python, there is Python Ladies in Amsterdam, actually. It's on Meetup. There is Girls Who Code. It's another one. So there are several. It depends on the technology. There is also another one now that I remember. It's for Java developers also.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you say C#? C# is a really nice one as well.
Java, yes.
Oh, nice.
So yes, definitely there are so many. And also, what I've noticed in different communities, there is also a mix. Doesn't mean to be only women, but if you feel, for example, that when there are men, that you feel like you don't want to ask a question because maybe you think like you are doing a stupid question, then just join the community of women, or depends. But I tell you, no one will think nowadays that you are doing a stupid question. Everyone can make if Google prints one day what the questions that people do. So there is no stupid question. So I think, yeah, it's nice to go also in mixed communities, definitely. Yes, Azadeh.
Should I stand up or?
if you don't mind, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I'm also one of the first participants for Covering on Hills, and been with Grisi for a long time. I wanted to ask you about the reachability and inclusivity in this community. For example, yours. What I mean is, I can see that we are at a sort of at the end of COVID, and we are going back to in-person events, and I see that also your events mostly were in person. The thing is, in the COVID time we had to go online, but that was a had to, and I noticed that before that it was like for example, like beginning of the 19th century, that if you wanted to be an artist, you had to go to Paris because every other part is. So, but I hope that we are past that point in this century, and with the technology that we have, that I don't have to be actually in Amsterdam to be part of this community, and otherwise I miss. So what are your take on this? Should communities also like put 50-50 efforts on staying online? Because, for example, I come here from Arnhem, and there are not so many coding on hills or such in Arnhem. So everything is Amsterdam and Den Haag and Rotterdam. So what about the rest of the country? And if like every community tries to, for example, 50-50 put efforts on working online, that would include, it would be more inclusive, more people from various parts. So what's your take on that? Do you plan on doing this about it, doing anything about it, or have you ever thought about it, or
no, to be honest, I hadn't thought about it, but I'm really glad you put that in my mind. I would think that, yeah, I just try it and see what happens. It's kind of like what we do at IKEA. So put on an event, have an online link. If people are there, then let's include them in the event.
Yeah, we have nice tools right now, like programming VS Code and IntelliJ, and you just can program to yourself. So we had to go through COVID and find out that it is possible to not be in person with each other and still have community.
Yeah, but that is a really good point. I mean, when we talk about the tech communities, a lot of them are based in Amsterdam, and there's like a few growing in Rotterdam, and The Hague. But yeah, that's a really great point. Like, a lot of people have to travel quite a long way, so how can we try to include them?
Yeah, it also gives this little girl from a little town to also, join and they don't have to feel that they have to travel long distances to find a community.
Okay, so then I would say yes. I would make it a hybrid event.
Thank you.
Thank you, Azadeh. Any more questions? If not, I would like to thank Vanessa. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank you.
me.
All right, now we are going to have a 15 minutes break. For those who are watching us online, the countdown will be there, so you know exactly when we are starting. And just take a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, depend on the time zone that you are, and see you in 15 minutes.
know that there's something so special about you and me, babe. You got me, you got me, you got me feeling fine. So just say the words, cause you know what it means to me, babe. When you got me, you got me, you got me feeling fine. I know that there's something so special about you and me, babe. You got me, you got me, you got me feeling fine. So just say the words, cause you know what it means to me, babe. When you got me, you got me, you got me feeling fine. Just hold on. Been to places that I'll never go. Seen some faces that I'll never know. I keep dancing, but it's just for show. Whoa. Look up at the sky full of stars. Close my eyes, I always see the dark. Tell myself autumn season now. Alright. And we walk this road together. And I still feel like I'm alone. Just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on.
No? Yes, yes, we are back. And we are back. Thank you, everyone, for coming back again. And now we will have a great presentation from Marjana Shammi. As I said in the beginning, she's a brilliant woman in technology. She's even been nominated as a very inspiring woman in tech. And she's the product engineering manager at IKEA Digital Hub. And now she will talk, lead and be led.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining. I hope you really enjoyed this talk. This title is a cliffhanger, and I'll let you figure it out by the end of the presentation. I'm Marjana Shammi, and like Chrissy said, I'm product engineering manager here in IKEA. And it's fantastic to be here. So I'll just begin right away. Who am I? First and foremost, I'm human, right? And I'm a daughter, a sister, a wife, a mother, a friend, and a coworker. I'm born in Dhaka, Bangladesh. That's where I'm from, and I love my country, but equally, I love being here in the Netherlands. It's been 12 years now. And yeah, time just flies, apart from the weather. I like everything here. I studied in computer science and management technology because I really wanted to blend in both and also help people move forward. I started out as a programmer and then went into testing, was a team lead for a while, and then I became a manager. And just recently, in the past 5 to 6 years, I've been very passionate about bringing business and tech together and building high-performing teams. And that's been my core focus so that I can support teams to be at their best. So yeah, currently living in the Netherlands, working at IKEA as product engineering manager for 2 areas, core and home services, which include energy services and circular ventures to prolong the life cycle of product. And also acting product manager at the moment. So I have 3 roles. Yeah, but you can only do so much, right? So I'm also, looking for people to join me in my team so that we can really build a great team. So I think somebody mentioned here looking for something for sustainability. You're more than welcome to apply. Absolutely. We are very passionate about sustainability, caring for the people and planet. And in the both domains that I am part of, it's all about sustainability. So you're more than welcome. I love to navigate through the chaos and simplify things. And when I see teams thrive in chaos, and that gives me a kick, right? So I'm very passionate about that. And why am I here? I'm here to share experiences, to basically pay it forward, and I'll get to that in a while, how I've come to that state. yeah, to share my thoughts and the challenges that I had during my career, and how I feel certain characteristics can help in the tech industry. And also to give you a little bit about how I balance my work, my lifestyle, and career, and how I feel IKEA really motivates me. So I hope this story sort of, gives you some tips, but also inspires you, and that's mainly why I'm here. So this is me. Do you recognize me? No. So this is me often during my studies and during my early career, where I've been, the only woman or the only girl, or let's say with another girlfriend of mine, in an environment of men. And that's how I've been throughout. So, but times have changed, and now I see things moving, and we see, different kind of also people joining in, women joining in. There's a blend of both, which is fantastic to see. And, what I really found, and I'll share some stories over here. When I was studying computer science, there was one time somebody told me, what's the use of you, a girl like you, to study computer science? I mean, you would be much better at, doing business studies or communication studies. And I just felt so wronged. I was like, okay, why would somebody say that to me? I'm very, very tech-oriented. Back then, we had CPUs, and I used to take them off, clean up, take out the RAM drive and everything. And so I was very offended in a way, and I was like, no, I'm going to prove this guy that I can do something with my study. So I graduated from computer science, and then I went to work in a very international company that was half based in Tug and half in Copenhagen. And I proved him wrong. I didn't, of course, go to him, but it was for me as a drive that why cannot I succeed in tech? And while down the career, another story that I'll share is while I've been as a programmer and a tester, there was a time when I wanted to become more into management, to lead people, and towards, let's say, the path of being a CTO. And one of my managers told me that, you're so great at HR skills. You're great at leading people, coaching people, and I know I'm good at that because I really feel very passionate about people's growth and development. And I told him, thank you so much for recognizing those capabilities in me, and I would love to nurture them further. But that's not what I want to grow into. I would love to adopt those characteristics and move further. But I don't see myself in the HR track. I mean, don't get me wrong, the HR track is brilliant, right? I mean, we have some fantastic people, and within IKEA, we have a great team that supports us thoroughly. But that's not my passion. I want to be in the tech path. And so I became a DevOps manager right after that, right from that company. And I was leading a team of infrastructure operational people, blending in together with the developers, and then really completely shifting on how we provision infrastructure and do it cloud-based. So that's another side of the story that, yeah. And just a third little story, in one of my evaluation, one of my managers told me, I'm very polite, and sometimes I need to be a little bit more forward, and be a little bit more maybe strong in my opinions to get things through. And I just simply didn't get that, because what's wrong to be polite? What's wrong to be respectful and humble? And I told him, I can understand why you might have that view, but that's not me. So I'm going to try, but that's not me, and let's see how we get there. And not for a single moment in my life have I been aggressive. I don't think it's professional either. And well, ladies and gentlemen, here I am as a product engineering manager, overcoming all those challenges, and all that I felt was, just be yourself, be who you are, and follow your passion, and then just, go do what you need to do. You'll get there. Simple. So I can be all those and yet become what I want to become. right? So I love this picture. I don't know why. It's just a blend of both, right? I mean, you can still be the person you want to be. So the important lesson here that I've learned, and also would like to share with you all, is don't let judgment of others cloud your judgment. Because, ultimately, it's your values. It's let your values, your beliefs, and your determination lead you. So, so what do you need to do in order to build a successful career? And how can you stand out? So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I feel is very important. But before that, I welcome you all to maybe spend some time to identify what is your limiting belief. The definition of a limiting belief is a false belief that a person acquires as a result of making an incorrect conclusion about something in life. You may not realize it, but all of us have some sort of belief in us, inside ourselves, due to which that creates an obstacle to your own potential. So first and foremost, find that limiting belief and overcome it. I found my limiting belief, I think 3 to 4 years ago when I was doing this personal development course. And my limiting belief was that if I shared my story, or if I shared my experiences or my accomplishments or whatever, I'm showing off. That, people might think I'm showing off. And that's why I never really, shared my success stories or my challenges or anything for that matter. But while doing that development course, the course instructor also was guiding me and saying, why do you feel that it's, you're showing off? It could very well be that when you share your story, your challenges, your successes, then maybe it might help another person. And maybe they're looking for some support which you can give. And also think about your manager. I mean, your manager can also share your story and advocate it to the next level of manager and make it their own, right? So you can also help others in doing so. And that completely changed my mind. And I was thinking, she's absolutely right. That it doesn't have to be that if I share something or if I share my accomplishments, that it means I'm showing off. Absolutely not. Sure, if you want to show off with that intention, then it's showing off. But yeah, feel free to take care of that. And since then, I feel getting more and more comfortable in my own skin to share my story. So find your limiting belief first and then overcome that. Take the lead. Take the lead to lead your life. Take the lead to, do what you want to do. And, by taking the lead, what I really mean is, diving into what interests you. Work hard, be mindful of that, and I'm sure success will follow one way or another. It will come. So, and whenever you feel like, hey, I'm a little skeptic, should I be going there, should I be doing this? Really force yourself and actively think about, what would I do if I weren't afraid? What would I do if I weren't afraid? And then go do that. Exactly that. And you'll see it's just easy peasy after it, right? So find and engage people that see your potential, encourages you, and uplifts you. The session with Vanessa just a while ago, we had an audience member, Wim Blau, who is part of our group digital management board. He made a comment that how can male act as role models, right? So people like him who support the movement, people like him who can support you, who can have a listening ear to you, find people around you that support you and take them along into what you are passionate about. And you will see it will make life much, much easier. Be curious. I cannot stress this enough for women, and of course men, but also women. Be curious in anything for that matter. Go do that uncomfortable thing that you're so afraid of. And just step into that zone. And it's okay to make mistakes. And hey, if people think that you're making mistakes, and that's fine. Just be like, this is what I'm learning, and this is my journey, this is my progress, and that's okay. So be curious, learn about what other people are doing, what other fields are, and you will see how subconsciously that will, come into your process and moving forward. Being analytical, that's of course, in a way, a no-brainer for moving into tech. Think about problems, think about solutions, think about logic, and that's really important. Persistent, be persistent. Don't be afraid. I mean, even if you're afraid, just don't give up. Go take the next step. Push yourself. If you really believe in it, push yourself. And trust me, if you're persistent and if you work hard, then you will get to where you want to be. And most importantly, being empathetic. I feel this particular characteristic is so important. And in the world of today, I mean, maybe pre-COVID, this was more and more relevant, but post-COVID, you see people being more empathetic to each other. But this is such an important criteria, and I really feel that we should really care for one another, and organizations should also nourish that culture to be respectful to one another, being empathetic to one another. Because once you're empathetic to one another, and being compassionate to one another, you allow the person to grow. You really allow that person to shine along with you. So stepping into the tech space is basically, taking these characteristics and taking the lead, and most importantly, doing the following 3 things. Oop, not those 3 things. Hopefully they'll come. Hopefully my animation comes. These 3 things: exposure, empowerment, and engagement. I really feel that women aren't exposed enough in the tech industries. So it's wonderful to see events like this happening more and more, where we get the platform to speak our stories, to share our stories. Families aren't exposed enough to women in tech, to expose to their children. So I feel that that's very important as well, that how can you build in STEM education for boys and girls equally, and also express the need of having that equal education. Women don't expose themselves enough, probably due to their nature, their innate nature. So it's super important to expose, to have that exposure in the community, in your families, in your workplace, etc. And then empowerment. I mean, there is really a big need of empowering people, women to women, but also men equally, right? I mean, not just in conferences, on the work floor. When you see somebody, am I past time? I'm really past time. But I really want to share that when you see somebody that deserves that credit, so allow them to really, take that podium, to really let them shine. And that's very, very important. I want to end with one last slide. And it's this slide. And that is, I couldn't share all the rest of the slides, but this one last slide is, I really feel that in order to balance your work lifestyle and priorities, prioritize yourself, bring focus to your work, rejuvenate, and build gap habits, and dream and challenge. And the way I feel that IKEA really motivates me is by connecting the values that we have. It's by giving and taking responsibility, simplicity, renewing and improving, caring for people and planet, leading by example, and different with a meaning. So finally, I would like to leave you with this quote. Lead the way you aspire to be, and be led by your instincts and values. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marjana. Yeah, it was wonderful, so inspiring that I want to be in your team. Really.
Oh, come on.
It was really so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing also from your heart.
Absolutely.
Any questions? Yes.
Hi, so yes, you mentioned at the beginning something about business and tech that you wanted to perhaps bridge the gap or something. Right now, I work in a tech company, and I do feel like business people and tech people, they just speak different languages at all. So business people, they just care about business, but they don't care about the solution at all. And
Yeah.
then tech people, they just care about building something and something nice, but they don't care about speaking perhaps the customer language or something. Is that something that you have experienced or you experience right now? And how do you bring different teams together, to make them aware that, it's not different teams in one company, but actually you are working towards, a customer that needs or has these problems, and how you as a team can, bring a solution to them?
That's a great question. So thank you for spotting that, first of all, and taking the opportunity to ask that. It's something that I'm sure all of us have gone through in our organization. And it's funnily enough, I am going through that situation at this moment in one of our areas, right? So how I think to bridge that gap towards having that common language is nothing but really looking into the goal that we are driving together. And if you have the North Star, and if everybody understands the North Star and wants to go to the North Star, then you already are a step ahead. So just an example from one of my experiences is that business has these goals, and as digital or tech, we have our own goals, right? So what we're trying to do at IKEA is, first and foremost, we feel that it's very important to have both, that one cannot live without another. And so that marriage between business and tech, it's very vital in order to achieve where we are. So once we build that relationship and that trust, to identify what are the main goals, what is it that we want to achieve together? And ultimately, that is, think of identifying the objective or the key results, I'm now talking very practically, and identifying those, and then taking that as a singular reference into building the rest of the things. And then invite the business into your technical operation meetings, right? And have like a representative who you can liaise with. Similarly, have a digital representative in business who can also not only capture what are the exact problems they're facing, but also how, as digital, can you bring in your input there. So it's a lot about being very mindful about that this is ultimately our goal, not yours or mine. This is the goal, this is the North Star that we're all driving towards. How can I support you, and how can you support me? That's the conversation that needs to happen again and again. It's not a one-day solution. It needs to happen again and again. And if you have that mindset and that thought built across the teams, then everyone will be doing that. And there will be a point in time where, in processes, in tooling, you'll figure that out.
Yeah, thank you. I think, I agree with you. If you don't get to get them together in the same room, then you will never be able to, you will never speak the same language, but at least you're agree on common themes, goals, and I think that's really important. So, thanks.
You're welcome.
Nice, thank you. Any more questions? Yes.
It's wonderful that you're
Yes,
participating.
exactly.
Older ladies.
No, not at all.
Yes, great. Because once I just pick the last second slide, you just say make things simple, simplicity. That's the thing we really need to do, and this is also the core concept from IKEA. I love it. Yeah. So I'm asking you because you are as a sort of product owner or
so I'm product
service.
You can it's equivalent to head of engineering, but I am also looking into the product management part. Yes.
Okay. As my age, so I look things. So I mean, how much you interact or give some input about the design of the products of IKEA?
Absolutely. So you mean like the product design itself, like the physical
design,
product?
Yeah, there's some,
sure.
That within the time always there's some trend.
Yeah.
I mean, you from the IT, from digital side, people can make a design, in a virtual way, and then that can
Yeah.
give a lot of inspiration to reality. I mean, so how much interact
Yeah.
from both sides.
Absolutely. Well, IKEA is a big organization, and we have lots of teams across the organization. There are specific teams that are built on product design, like physical product design.
Yeah.
But before that, there's a prototyping phase that goes on. And in that prototyping phase, we have people who are designers, who are the user experience as well, but we also have from a sustainability point of view, are we using the right materials or not? And how we as digital take part in that, in the teams that are involved in that process, they are creating those prototyping mechanisms. We have something called the virtual reality solution, right? So if you're taking the IKEA app and you want to, let's say, know how would this chair fit in, so we're creating that mechanism for you so you can position in a particular area of the room. So we as digital are creating the solutions where customers can easily, visibly, see how they can place their, products at their life at home. And at the same time, we, for example, in sustainability, what we're trying to do is how can we bring the information closer to the customer to be aware of the materials from a sustainability point of view? How can we inspire people to, if you're putting a hot pot on your stove, and how can you save energy? By just simply putting the lid on, and it's going to boil up sooner than expected, right? So we're also helping them to inspire, educate, but also inform in different ways in different parts. So that's how digital can play a role to really engage customers.
So is open.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there are no boundaries for sharing ideas. That's what we really believe. Continuously renew and improve.
Great.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes, we have one question.
Thank you. Thank you for your talk. So it's a two-part question. First part, do you miss being a maker now that you're in a leadership position? And second part, as a leader, how do you stay on top of the newest trends and the newest tech for your team?
Superb question. I do miss sometimes, I have to say, because now I'm mostly in meetings, right? But what I really enjoy, and that was a very conscious, chosen path that I wanted to make for myself, and can be very different for another person. I know that I'm very good at, like I said, navigating things and helping people and supporting people. So I wanted to use that strength to help build high-performing teams. I wanted to find a system or, let's say, take obstacles away from them so that teams can thrive at what they're good at. So that was a very conscious path that I've chosen. So in a way, I do miss it, but in a way, I don't, because I also fulfilled my role in that sense. To your second question, how do I keep, staying in touch with the latest techs? And I also feel that it's a lot about empowering your team members. I cannot do it by myself, and I don't think any person in the team can do it by himself or herself. So it's important to build that community with your team, to bring in ideas from what they learn, discuss together. I may not know all the technologies, and I'm simply won't be able to, because there's so many things popping up here and there, right? So I myself, I'm in Twitter. I follow a lot of articles. I'm in the DevOps community. I do roundtables. I'm learning a lot from the community, and I bring that information back to my team. Similarly, I'm also advocating towards my team members. Go in meetups, go write a blog, share. Gather all the information that you think that could be useful for your work, but also bring it back to your team and discuss amongst each other and embrace that way of working. So that's how I also learn from them and vice versa.
Nice. Yes. Yeah.
Hi, so thank you very much for the inspirational talk.
Thank you.
It was very nice. I have a question, like you said about high-performing teams. What are the main values that you actually emphasize on building a high-performing team?
Yeah, so once again, there's such good questions here. that can vary. That can vary team to team, that can vary domain to domain, etc. What I feel high-performing team is a team that feels confident about what they're delivering and are happy with it. That's most key for me. Because if you, as a team, feel that you're delivering customer value, and if you're delivering that feature, let's say, or that software or that product, based on the user needs, but also in a secured and reliable way, and you feel good about what you're delivering at the end of the day, for me, that's a success criteria. And naturally, in order to do that, you have to settle in all the processes, you have to settle in all the communication, feel psychologically safe that Vanessa also shared, to be able to openly discuss about your problems. So to me, ultimately, it's really about the success criteria is when a team is happy about what they're delivering and feeling confident in what they're delivering. And then the rest, they follow. It's about respecting each other into getting towards that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. Any more questions? Yes?
Thank you. First of all, thanks for the very
You're
inspiring
welcome.
talk. I wanted to ask you, you talked about being empathetic and helping in your group, each other and such. And I wanted to ask you that if you have done anything to basically implement and establish the mentorship culture in any of your teams, and if yes, how did you do it, and how you maintain that culture, and for a team to at the same time that they grow, they also pick each other up and also help new members to also grow with them. So basically, because I have seen a lot of teams that they are very high performance and very professional, but they're just that, and nobody can get in, and they just move towards the moon by themselves, and they just keep distant from the others. So that's my question.
Another great question.
Another great question. Wow, I'm really impressed, actually. So in IKEA, so I've been here since December, and I'm very lucky to be working in an organization that's very, it really, the values are very embedded, and people are very humble and respectful. So I think we have that relationship within our team members where they can really speak freely to each other and being respectful. So I haven't come across that situation in IKEA. But in one of my experiences, I have experienced exactly the example that you're sharing. So there, how did we change that? First and foremost, I feel as leads, we can help people by first acknowledging that there's a problem, so there's a challenge, and that is sort of blocking the team, right? And how you do that is by having these one-on-one conversations, first and foremost, to understand the situation. And the person who's really facing that problem, to encourage that person to feel free in an open space to have a one-on-one with the other person and just say how that person makes them feel. That's the only way that I feel you can get through that barrier, because maybe the other person didn't intend it to be like that. Maybe from their angle, they were just doing their job and wanted to drive to the moon, like you said, and just wanted to deliver, but isn't aware that their behavior is affecting others. So there's a number of things that needs to happen. One is making the problem visible by talking to each other one-on-one, and if it's happening to multiple people in the team, then to actually seek support from a third party, maybe like a scrum master, or maybe somebody outside the team, or your coach, to really have a, what I like to say, like a sort of intervene session, and just be like, hey guys, this is what we're observing. How can we uplift ourselves to resolve this problem? and feel free to openly discuss. And let's say during that discussion that somebody doesn't let the other person share that opinion, then the third party also needs to take that role to stop the other person, be like, let's give that person a turn and allow that person to openly talk about. And sometimes you just need vent out sessions. People just need vent out sessions. I mean, there was a company that I worked for. It's a very highly politicized project. People were completely at their stress levels. And I noticed that my team was really, being the focus part of it. So what I did, I just took them down in one afternoon into the cafeteria, and I was like, guys, pretend I'm not here and just vent out. So, and they did. And they did one by one. And we had that every week. And what that resulted to is they had conflicts with each other in the beginning, but now they were more open and more vulnerable and more respectful towards each other. So sometimes you just need to let them vent out. So I think, coming back to your question, you need to do it from different angles. You need to have that somebody who can support you, create the psychological safe environment to be able to speak to one another, and then take the next step, into having clear rules of conduct that, this is not what we accept as a team. And then if anybody, goes against that, be like, hey, we agreed on that. Let's give it a try. And you have to take it step by step. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marjana. I give an applause to Marjana. All right. Now we are to the last topic, Prasha Dutra. She is a TEDx speaker. She is a brilliant coach for women in STEM. And today she's going to talk how to be confident. Prasha, unfortunately, we cannot have in offline because she's from USA. But is she dialed in? Yes. It's always. I think, especially after COVID, everyone experienced. Yes, I will tell the chicken coop story. All right. For this topic, actually, how to be confident, Prasha already did give a presentation in Coding on His Community this year, and all the ladies loved it. She has the tools. She has the tools and all the a framework on how to be confident, because it's actually a skill that you train yourself. It's not that you can wake up in the morning and you are just confident suddenly. It's you train yourself every day. It's an exercise. And I hope in these 15 minutes, 20 that she has, she will be able to, let's say, show to you all these tools. And why not to use it in your day-to-day life? And she's in? Yes. Prasha, stage is yours.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So I have a little bit echo. I'm not sure if that's because...
You are great.
Yeah, when I'm speaking, I can hear my own voice. But thank you so much for having me. And I am so happy to be here. I'm not sure if you can see my face, but I hope you are. And here in a minute, I will share, like Chrissy said, I will be sharing with you how to build self-confidence. So if somebody can tell me they can see my screen, I'll get started.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Okay, perfect.
No screen? No, we cannot see yet your screen.
Can you see my presentation?
Not yet.
No? Okay, hold on. Let me try one more time. Could you see my face, though?
In the beginning, yes, but now not.
Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, this should work. Let me know. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me virtually. I hope to be in Amsterdam one day and get to meet all of you in person. So thanks, Chrissy, Coding on Heels, and thank you so much to IKEA for this platform. So let's get started and try my best to wrap this up in the time we have together. I am your coach for the next 15-20 minutes. My name is Prasha Dutra. I am a women in STEM coach, first generation Indian immigrant to the US. I moved here about 10 years ago. I'm a TEDx speaker, award-winning podcaster. I read a lot, and I am an ex-corporate leader. I used to work in manufacturing for about 7 years as and different roles, and really climbing the corporate ladder was so much fun. But through my work on the side in women in STEM space, I found my calling. And so now I'm blessed to do this full time. Again, as I said, I'm a career and life coach, and I'm obsessed with Friends, the TV show. If you're not obsessed with Friends, I'm sorry, we can't be friends. But all things aside, today I really want to take you on this journey and show you a different perspective on confidence and how you can build it for yourself. My real small ask for the next few minutes, which is 15 minutes together that we have, please set a little intention. It takes 1 second, but it makes everything so much better. Your intention can be, I'll be open-minded. Your intention can be, I will try to practice one thing I learned from this presentation tomorrow. Your intention can also be that I commit to come back to these tools in the future. Whatever it is, make sure you set an intention. Get hyped. I'm all about being hyped and excited. I know this is the last presentation and you're probably a little tired, but hopefully you can bring in a little bit, hyped energy for this, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. If you have a notebook and a pen, that's always something I like to do, take notes. But if you don't have a notebook and a pen, that's okay too. Just make sure you ask questions towards the end, and I'm here to answer all of them. So studies show, women in STEM face a huge confidence gap, which leads to higher dropout rates. Vanessa shared this, Marjana shared this, and we all know that this happens way too often. Men are overconfident and women are underconfident, and this is, this can be because of social stigmas and how we are raised, and this is very exaggerated for underprivileged communities, for women of color, for immigrants, for people who are not represented in the majority of a society. This confidence gap is even higher, and this has to be closed. So this is one of the major reasons why we should talk about confidence and why we should actually work on our confidence again and again, because this work is never actually done. So how many of you feel, now I can't see you all, but you can still, Grissy probably can see you all, but how many of you feel underconfident on a daily basis? Like, this happens every day. I wake up and I'm like, why can't I feel confident like those girls who are dancing on Instagram Reels? Why am I not confident like that person who, probably wears 6 inches heels to work or something? We always compare ourselves and time and again continuously feel underconfident. And again, if you're raising your hands, I can't see it, but I know you probably feel this way on a daily basis. And I did that too, and maybe you resonate with some of these sentences. I was really confident in high school, but then everything went downhill. Happened many, many times, right? I was the brightest kid in grade 11, and then guess what? I lost my confidence in college. In corporate atmosphere, my own self-doubt, this is my story, by the way, in corporate atmosphere, my self-doubt was off the roof some days. I couldn't, I was doubting myself nonstop, and I couldn't sometimes say things that I wanted to say, speak up when I wanted to speak up, especially when I first started in my 9-to-5 job. And then some days I wasn't even sure who I was, because if I thought back to my really confident days in school and college, I would be like, this is such a contrasting personality. And I have coached, over 150 women in STEM in the last year and a half or so. And I have heard these stories again and again and again, that I was so confident and I'm not that anymore. I would love to be my confident self. I would love to become, as excited about STEM or tech like I used to in high school and college. And so I'm sure some of you resonate with this thought trail, where we start thinking about, what happened? Where did I lose my confidence? And now how do I build it up? A lot of times, like Gracie said, we may think of confidence as a gift that somebody gave us and then they took it away, and now we can't ever get it back. It's really how I thought about it as well, until one day while practicing a talk, it finally clicked for me. Just this sort of loop just showed up in my mind. I'm like, okay, wait, this makes sense. This is why I have been feeling this way, and this is how I can actually work on improving my confidence, on a daily basis. And, I realized that I was losing my confidence because I was not practicing or doing things to retain it or to sustain it. It was like confidence was bleeding out of me because I didn't work at it enough. In school and college, I realized I was challenged every other day. I was doing new things every other day. I had, more support. I had more faith in myself because I had nothing to lose. Over time, that risk factor was too high. Like we have been talking this entire time, there was less people supporting me. There was a dearth of community, And so I just realized, wait, it's not so much that I lost it. It's so much that I didn't do anything to retain it. And then now the more I don't work on it, the more I keep losing it. And so it's not like this one big, again, not this one big gift that I just lost. It's more like a continual deterioration of my confidence levels because I didn't do anything to protect it. The analogy that comes to mind is soil erosion. If you don't plant enough trees, the soil is going to keep getting eroded. And this is what's happening with our confidence, is that we're not doing anything to keep it together, to sustain it and not let it get eroded away. And so how can you then stop this bleeding? How can you stop this erosion of your confidence while you're working in these high demanding and highly visible jobs like, the tech jobs that are out there? And how can we then eventually close this confidence gap, which can help us close the gender gap as well, right? So it's kind of all related and all linked. So before we talk about how, let's just really understand what is confidence, because this was my route too. I said, wait, before I start changing things, let me just understand what is confidence. So many of us never look up the definition. So weird. And then I look up the definition, and the one word that really stood out for me was trust. This huge word here. It's the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. It's firm trust. It actually comes from the Latin word, which translates to trust. So having self-confidence is having trust in oneself, right? And this was, again, one of those aha moments. I'm like, wait, if I can trust myself, I can finally feel more confident, right? And so this connection can truly help us as well, because now we understand what is self-confidence. It is having trust in yourself. And now let's talk about building it. So then how do you become more confident? Now, if this is confidence, how do I generate more self-trust? How do I firmly trust myself to do things that I've never done before, to stand in front of crowds and give my talk, to speak up when something is going in the wrong direction at my job, to give up on my corporate life and move into entrepreneurial roles, or to give up my business and move back into the tech space. Wherever you are in your journey, you would need more confidence, because if you're challenging yourself, this is something that you really need. And so I just want to introduce you to this little cycle that I think, when I think about confidence, I think about it this way. We learn, then we grow, we practice and retain, and this is pretty much true for any skill, right? But a lot of us get so stuck in learning that we forget the rest of the three. We are always thinking, I need to learn how to speak better. I need to learn how to write a blog. I need to learn how to do this language, or I need to learn how to do X, Y, and Z. Totally forget the growth part. Totally forget that the practice part or the retaining part. So many of us are always focusing on growing our confidence that, again, we forget to practice what we already have. We also forget how to retain what we already have, right? So this is very, very important when it comes to confidence, to think of this as a more complex skill that we need to learn, grow, practice, and retain all at the same time, all in parallel. Because there are a lot of things you're probably doing today which is again deteriorating your confidence that you already have. And that can be sometimes more than enough to learn the next skill, right? Because you retained it, because you didn't let it deteriorate. So how can you learn and grow your confidence together? I'm going to put this together just because, again, learning is an ongoing process, and we all should be lifelong learners. There should never be a point where we kind of stop learning. So here are a few tips you can use right away to start this process for yourself. So number one, take messy action. You know, you've heard this, you know, we just heard it in the talk before me, and it's very important. Do it. Just do whatever comes to mind, but don't wait for it to be perfect. If you wait for it to be perfect, you're done. It's not happening, and you are paying in confidence dollars. Your confidence is deteriorating because now you're doubting yourself. I should wait. I should be better. I should be perfect. No, I should just take messy action. That will help my self-confidence. If you can make this connection, I promise you're more likely to make progress. You're more likely to take action. Feed your mind daily. Again, we forget this. We think we already know everything, so that's it. We're all golden. No, please, whether it's a podcast, it's a book, whatever it is, try to feed your mind daily. Even if you read one page, even if you listen to 5 minutes of a podcast, I promise this will give you so much confidence because you're continuously working on something. You're continuously improving. What I like to do is, you know, this, since I understood this concept and, you know, read close to 200 books in about 5 years. That's a lot of books. But why am I doing it? Not because I'm crazy. It's because I understand how much it contributes to my confidence daily. Focus on what you did right. This is my favorite. Whenever I get on calls with my clients or people who are interested in working with me, they tell me the list of all the things that are not working. Have you all done that? I'm pretty sure you've done that. This is not working, that's not working, this is not right, that's not right. We spend so much energy and time on what's not working that we completely forget to take into account what is working, because what is working is more important for your confidence than what is not working. So focus on what you did right, and every day you can make a list of 2 to 3 things that you did right. I have a rule where if I am finding myself always talking about what's wrong, like sort of complaining mode, I like to remind myself, hold on, you get to complain only after you tell me what are the couple of things that you did right. And this is a really good practice. And of course, this is a simple practice. You can start it right now. Practicing self-confidence. Now, how do you practice this skill? Don't dwell on what did not work well. It's very simple, right? Like it's the opposite of what we just said. Set a timer. You know, a lot of people do this, and a lot of people have these different times in different books I've read. But I have a 5-minute or 15-minute time window where I can dwell and cry and moan and like be like, this is not working. And I can do that. But once those 5-10 minutes are over, then that's it. I'm not dwelling on it anymore. And I'm going to focus on what did I do right. Because this way I practice trusting myself. I practice my self-confidence. Take on personal challenges every season. This is what you did in school and college. You should do it again. Whether that is trying something new, whether it's attending the meetups like this, whether it's meeting new people, whether it's signing up for a half marathon, 5K, 10K. Every season, I like to give myself a challenge. Last season, I learned how to swim. I didn't know how to swim, so it took 10 months, but really helped me practice confidence because I said, you know what, if you sign up for something, you can do it. And I'm proud to share that I actually ended up going on a snorkeling activity in the Caribbean and got to swim with sharks. So that was pretty cool. But see, that ways I can practice confidence outside work and really reap the benefits of it in trying new things at work also. Be more vocal about your ideas. You know, a lot of times we just be quiet. We say, Prasha, don't say this. This is so silly. If you say this, everybody's going to laugh. And so many times you're having these internal conversations. Please don't. Stop that and talk to somebody. Say that out loud. And that's where these communities are great, you know, Coding on Heels and, you know, different communities that are available to you. Be vocal, share your ideas outside of a professional setting, and allow yourself to be silly. You can practice a lot of self-confidence this way, and you don't know what can come out of these silly conversations, by the way, I'm sitting in front of you because I had a silly conversation about this particular presentation lots of months ago, and here we are actually giving the presentation, right? So you don't know what these silly ideas can become, plus it gives you a lot of confidence in yourself that nothing is silly, nothing is too small. My ideas are valuable. Retain your confidence. This is my favorite, and this is how you're going to reduce the erosion, you're going to reduce the bleeding. So retain your confidence. Don't wait for the perfect time. Take action. I'm saying that again because I cannot force this enough. You have to act to collect data points that you can do things, and you are on the right track. The more you stop yourself, the more you stop the feedback, the flow of data that actually will help you move forward. So please don't wait for perfect time. Take messy action. It will help you retain your confidence. Every time you tell yourself don't do it, you're losing confidence. Every time you say don't do it, this is not the right time, it is not a good way to talk to yourself. It's like, okay, let's take messy action. What is the small thing I can do to try something? Find ways to trust yourself a bit more daily. For me, this has definitely been a journey of self-awareness, because we only trust people that we know. So if I know myself more, then I can trust myself more, right? So find ways to trust yourself a bit more daily, whether it's through spiritual exercises like meditation, working out, whether it is really, reconciling with your past, working with a therapist, working with a coach, whatever it takes, but keep working on yourself. And always cheer yourself on, even when you don't feel like it. You are your biggest enemy and your biggest cheerleader. So choose which role you're going to play in your life. And I like to be my cheerleader. So try that for once. You have been so critical of yourself all your entire life. And maybe the society has a huge role to play also, but don't pick that role. Cheer yourself on, even when you don't feel like it. My favorite exercise, hype dance. Hype dance before you're doing something big. Just play a favorite song and just hype yourself up and go for it. And remember, whether you take action or not, you always pay a price. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you don't take action and you think, oh, no problem. Who cares if I do this project or not? You're losing confidence if you're not acting on things that you really want to act. So please, whether you act or not, you're paying the price. Just might as well act. And that way, at least you'll retain this self-confidence, and at least you'll be able to practice it and grow it. And over time, you will have a sustainable system on where you don't erode your confidence anymore. You have firm trust in yourself. So there's an exercise. I know we're running out of time, and I'm just going to make this quick, but choose one messy action you can take to grow your confidence in your weakest area of your life. Which area of your life do you think you need to retain confidence? In which area of your life do you think you need to practice more confidence? And for all these, think about how can you do that this week, tomorrow, not today maybe. Don't wait. Just try things. And what is that one thing you're doing today that's diminishing your confidence? What is it? What is it that's eroding the self-confidence, whether it's toxic self-talk, toxic work culture, poor selection of friends, and not taking care of your mental health, physical health, spiritual health? What is it that is actually diminishing your existing confidence? Ask yourself that. Be very honest. Again, the pro tip is simple. The more you like yourself, the more you can trust yourself. So please remember this. And you're incredible, you're brilliant, so you should like yourself. And with that, if you'd like to build your confidence with me, you can just scan this QR code and connect with me on all social media at Prasha Dutra. I'm most active on Instagram, by the way.
All right. Thank you so much, Prasha. Thank you very much. Do you have time that we can ask for any questions?
Yes.
All right.
Of course, please.
Any questions for Prasha? Yes, two.
I can't hear.
Wait, 1 second.
Yes, no,
Yes.
no. Yes. What are the things that actually leak your confidence? How
Yeah.
do you tackle them?
Can you share an example from your life?
Yes, no, yes, easily.
Yeah.
You know, them nasty devils start to say like, Elena, you could not do it. No, 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 no. You will not manage it. No, never. This is how it works. So what do you do with these
Yeah.
devils?
I love that. And that happens to all of us, right? Can we raise our hands? Happens to all of us. We have that devil on your
Yes, we
shoulder,
have
chip
some
on your
hands.
shoulder, whatever you call it. And they are usually your biggest enemy for sure. So what to do with it? So the thing is that you fed them for too long. You've been paying too much attention. So this, devil monster, whatever you want to call it, is very big in size, shape, and existence. So you pay attention and you listen, right? And now it's time to not feed it anymore. Like that's just how I like to think about it. It's like, okay, now who is the other opposite of it? Like, it's this two angels. Which one is it? Is it the angel and the devil? I have fed the devil for too long. Now I need to focus my attention on the angel, right? And thinking that they'll just go away, that's not true, because again, they are here because you fed it, you paid attention. Now, if you move your attention, I promise wherever you move that attention, it will grow. But just remember, it's going to take some time. It's not going to just disappear, right? It's that one decision every single day where you're saying, I'm not listening to you. I'm done, right? And just this one thought. So the exercise I like to do is, if you have a rubber band, every time you hear the devil, you just pull the rubber band really hard. And this ways, I hope you'll have like a red wrist by the end of the week. But you are really trying to rewrite your neural pathways. You're stopping that thought right there without trying to go down that path of overthinking and worrying and stuff like that. So start there, catch yourself, and now think about who's this nicer version of it, right? Because you have never built it. Now you have to build that nicer version, feed it, put attention, and hopefully they'll grow in time, once you do that. So that's my favorite tip to stop those thoughts.
All right, thank you. We have one more question.
I was just charging my laptop, sorry.
Yes.
It's not I don't have a question, actually. I just want to say I'm so happy to hear you again. We heard you in one of the earlier online meetings of Coding on Heels, and I enjoyed so very much your talk. I think it's almost the same one, and I think I can hear it 5, 10 more times. I don't know. Some of your words really stuck with me, and also the tone of your voice, and some difficult moments in my new career in tech. Sometimes I still hear your advice, some of your
thank
sentences.
you.
That's wonderful.
So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
That's wonderful. Any more questions or statements? All right, then there is no more question. Prasha, thank you so much again for joining.
You're welcome.
And thank you for continuing.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Thank you for continuing to building and to bring up the brilliance of all of these women that you are working with. Thank you again.
Yes.
And this applause is for you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, we are going to wrap it up. We are already at the end. I want to thank everyone who joined here in person. Thank you for spending your afternoon hours with us. And thank you to everyone who joined online. And a big thank you to everyone, every single person to IKEA contributed to make this happening and to expect and host us with such a great food, a great kindness and love. So thank you so much, everyone. Right, you're good.
It's such a good vibration. You're such a hot temptation. You just